Let's see. It's warmer today than it's been, but I've got this really old jacket, and I figure I don't care that much if I get paint on it, and it'll keep me a little bit warmer, so we're doing it. I can't zip it up because it's so old, the actual little zipper thingy fell right off of it. The little thing that you pull up, gone. Fell off in the washing machine. These things happen. Now, do I want to cover this canvas in paint? That's always the question, isn't it? That's fine. I guess we'll give it a quick little coat. Oh, never hurts to have the paint on it. Just sometimes you feel like, yeah, it's kind of a waste putting it on there. You didn't really need it, but it's not like it ever hurts anything. Just certain styles of this, you're going to need it more than others. Hopefully, I didn't clean this spatula, so hopefully nothing's going to start falling into it. You have a very limited time if there's dried paint on something, this paint, because it will reactivate and start falling off. But you have a period of time where you can still work it. So we'll see. And I could see that little bit of paint started to come through. That's why I stopped it. Stopped it in its tracks. Oh, hey, you Mert. So I figured it's 50 out. And so that's warm enough that I can have the windows open, I can have the fan on, and who knows? You know, who knows if that'll be true from now on or, you know, not. I could see that white mist coming down again. It comes both up and down. In typical horror movie fashion. Comes down and up at the same time. That same white mist that came before, why it didn't warm up, I can see it. Can see it coming, so we're gonna race the mist. So what I had in mind for this, obviously, is a pour, but I sold that painting recently, and I thought it would be kind of fun to see if we could recreate it as a pour. No idea if we can or not. Not exactly, because that would be, I think that would be putting too much limit on myself, but sort of. So for this one, what I did was, I did it this way. What about switching the order up? But we'll do it this way. We'll do it the same way it was. We'll do that? No, I think I'd like that a little higher, I think. So it's basically a tree swipe, more or less, is what we're thinking. But we'll get sort of a chakra sort of background on it first. Where's that? Now, did I lose a lid already? Oh, honestly, I don't know where my head's at. Oh, there it is, right next to it. Now, I thought I had some lavender. Yes, I do. Just don't have it out here in my, shall we say, my top tray. That one I had, of course. Mix it up a bit. I can't imagine I'll need that again, so I'm just going to put it back where it was. Might be a little big still. And then want some actual purple. I don't know if I want to use any violet or not. Okay. Just going to build outward. Can't say for certain which ones I've shook up and which ones I couldn't. I think I shook them all up, but just in case. Don't know how well this will work to blow this out. I wonder if I should, well, let's try. I think I'll still try it as a blowout. Oops, a stray blue dot there. Just sort of wipe that off there. Blue is such a strong color, particularly if it's somewhere where you don't want it. A little of the cyan in there. This cyan, I always do a little tester on the cyan because it, for some reason, it doesn't, shake up as well. I think a little bit sticks in the cap or something, I'm thinking, but for some reason it never seems to shake up as well as the other ones. Okay, now I need some green. Also didn't have. I put some white, what I might do is put some white back on it or another color altogether, like some gold or something. Or try and get this out of here. There we go. Just had a little thing blocking it. But went out a little wide on that one. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. We'll grab some yellow, some golden, some real yellow. I don't want too much orangey yellow next to the screen, although when we blow it out, it's all going to sort of mix up in there. So we'll have to see what happens. Oh, that may be, may got a little wild with that yellow. You know, if I take my mind off something just for a second even, that's when the trouble starts. I'll just daydream there for just a second about something, and before I know it, everything is every which way. Kind of exciting. Like I said, I have no idea if this will work at all or be terrible. Just no clue. And that makes it a lot more fun. Just no idea what's going on there. I'll get some of the actual. I know I didn't shake up any in that quadrant. I tend to keep the ones I use more over here and the ones I don't use as much in a box over on the side there, so I knew I hadn't shook these up. I'll get a little bit more red because we're kind of at the end of the rainbow, although I can bring it back in maybe with a little bit of magenta there on the side. Maybe just some dark red, just something to darken the edges maybe a little bit. Or some violet. I've got some violet there. I think this is a hot, yeah, that's a nice hot pink. I'll throw that in there. Actually, what I might do is just on the very edges here, put some indigo, just to darken it up a little bit as we get out there. Okay. And then we'll get some, then what I'd like to do on this, which again is not part of the original, but I think I'd like to just throw some metallic over it. But in a different pattern. That's what I think I'd like to do. And I might go back over it with some white as well. Once I get blown there. Should have some pretty colors for after, I think. Put some white back on top. Okay, well, let's see what a hairdryer does to this. some reason it's just not getting, it must not have had quite enough paint. I'm going to see if we can use this little guy and get in there. Still not right here. Better than it was though. Sometimes better than it was is all you can do. Not quite got the feeling of the same, of the original painting, the painting I'm looking at to do this, but like I said, that's the fun of the pour. Comes into my head and goes out there and you don't know what it's going to do. You can get more of this idea. Ooh, see now that's a little stronger with this. Let's see if we can use this and maybe push through a little more. Maybe get some idea of the stronger rays coming out of there. It doesn't really have as much of a center point. I'm not minding it though. It's just different. I'm not going to say it's better or worse, just different. The thing is, I'd almost like to bring this back in here. I feel like that center got way away from us to where it's got this huge center area. Let's see if we can bring some of these colors back alive into the middle here. Definitely less paint there. We need to do a little bit more with that paint, I think. You get a nice moon in there. Or sun or moon or something like that. Color, residual color up there. You know, a lot of people spin these, yes, and a lot of people actually have a thing and spin these, but you know, it just makes so much more mess than I can afford to have in here. But I see what you're saying. Even without having an actual spinning thing, I still got some spinning going there. Now, I don't mind that. I wonder if I want to wreck that with a fork and give it some texture that way. Because I kind of like what we just did with the moon. Suppose we can try it. It looks almost gives it a watery look or something. I did this on another one. It ended up being a phoenix. And I actually gave to somebody. As you know, I gave away a lot of paintings. That's what 2023 is all about for me. I gave away a lot of paintings. Got them out of my boxes. I could just make that more sense. Take even a little blower with it. Okay, that's looking okay. A little more dead center than I would have liked, at least from the way I'm looking at it now. I'm going to turn it back around. Now it's going to go that way. It's a little off center. I would have liked that the center be more over there. But, you know, I think we'd have to pretty much destroy it to do that, and who wants to do that? It's kind of interesting the way it is, and nobody wants to destroy things for no reason. But a pretty good reason to destroy things. Okay. All right, well, we've got a background on it. Let's see what else we can do. Got all the colors in there. Actually, it's kind of nice. All right, now let's get some paint. Let's see. I wonder if I want to pour the paint on there or just do it with a stick or something. Oh, you know what we might want is the thicker paint for this. Yeah, I brought some of this pre-mixed paint and it's, oh, that one's not even open yet. I thought it felt heavy. Let's open that. We're going to work with the thicker paint, I think. So just since I'm pouring it, I might as well pour it directly out there. Whoops! A little off to the side. I don't like to waste this more expensive paint. I don't like to waste any paint, whether it's paint I've had to mix up or paint that's here. And then we'll probably want to mix in a little bit more of this. Maybe a little bit of white. So I might want those colors lighter. Okay. Well, I will sit myself down here. We'll see about doing a bit of a silhouette here. Oh, a piece of plastic on the floor. Speaking of that, my Amazon stuff's supposed to come today. Kind of impressive, really. I thought they were delivering today, but they are. Okay, we'll pick a spot and start thinking about a tree here. I like that when you sort of, instead of going straight down with the color, kind of swish it around a little bit. That seems to get some pretty colors out of there. I don't know. Now this of course had a figure under the tree, which I don't know that we'll try and do with the pour paint. Generally speaking, I do figures after the fact. I don't try and get myself together to do them with this sort of paint, because it's just adds a layer of challenge that I don't usually feel I need in my life. But who knows, we might feel very brave today. Over to here. Those candles seem to work really well, better than the other ones did. I miss the colors. I kind of wish, you know, I did like the bright colors of the other one, but this one has, of course, a very pretty color for the, since they're only trying to do a natural flame and not color change it. The color's very nice. They did a great job on that sort of warm candlelight sort of look. Oh, hey, Dan. I'm attempting to sort of recreate the latest painting I sold with pour paint. It is not that recognizable, but that's okay. It's its own thing, as is typical with pour paint. I'm going to come over here and do a big old branch. It's going to come all the way over here. We don't have much new to report, do we, Umert, shows-wise? What did I watch? I started watching a Thai horror series called Curse Code on Prime. That the first little bit I thought, oh, I'm not going to like this at all. And now I've kind of gotten into it. So we'll see. this tree all the way over here. But it's finally somewhat warm. It's 50 out. Yeah, that's the one. I just sold it. And I thought, oh, you know what would be fun is redo that and pour paint. Because that's my idea of fun. Let's do that. Then I also spent a lot of time when I couldn't get out. I spent in Photoshop looking at those other paintings that we haven't finished yet, and got some of those with a little closer to what I want to do with them. So you know, I used my time productively a bit. Not as productively as I should have done. It didn't occur to me till today, for example, that I had run out of canvases, and all the time I spent sitting around there, I could have been prepping canvases. I even have them in the house because I do the first prepping part. But there you go. You know how it is. These things don't always occur to a person. I'd like to get this. I want to get these branches right over there. Right over in there. Who knows? We might alter this a bit, put a little owl or something in a tree. Boy, it was so nice that day I heard the owls. One thing, it was a nice day because they finally fixed my power. But in doing so, they disturbed the owls, and they were really complaining. But it was so nice to hear them. I had no idea they were still out there. I hadn't heard them myself in ages. They were not happy of being disturbed. So I certainly heard them a lot that night. I still can't believe they did that. Because I know that the problem was on the list because we talked to the guy. So it's not like they could go, oh, you know, he didn't realize there was an issue there. He wrote it down. I saw him do it. Oh, thank you, Dan. I really like my new kettle. I was sort of attached to my old kettle because it was this beautiful copper color, and it looked so pretty when it boiled. But you know, it actually didn't pour very well. Steve was always complaining. The lid was kind of hard to get on, so it was really easy to like have the lid slightly displaced, and then it would just boil forever. The auto shut-off wouldn't work. And this new one pours nice, and it's got a different type of lid that goes on real easily, and I thought, well, you know, it's actually a better kettle, I have to say. We go through our kettles pretty quick, though. I mean, I'm sure I bought another one since we've lived here, and another one of those, so I think this might be my third kettle. So I'm not real impressed with the longevity that I'm getting out of these tea kettles. Another branch, I think, over here. This tree's a lot thicker, I think, than the original tree, I've got to say. Enough branches? I don't. I think I want the branches to even go. I'll make that one thicker. I did! It should be here momentarily. It's one of the things they're delivering today. I ordered a power bank, and I ordered some things for my shoes that are similar to yak tracks, which are micro spikes, because now I know all these things that I didn't know before. But they're not actual yak tracks. They're from a company called, I think, Cascade Mountain or something like that. both those things are coming today. I've got the emergency candles. I should have bought flashlights. I did not think to do that. However, I believe my power bank actually turns into a flashlight. That is, seems to be common what they do. I guess they figure because you're going to probably be using it in a power outage. So I'll just try and just keep it charged up there, and they said to try and use it periodically to keep the batteries fresh and stuff, so I'll try and do that. With the candles, I'm alternating them, so I've got 2 tea light holders in the house, and as they use up their battery and need to be recharged, I'm planning on just trading them with other ones. So that's my plan. I got that trunk just a little bit thicker than I meant to. Let's see if I can balance it a little more, because it looks like it's leaning to me. Usually I go the other way and my trunks are too thin. And on this one I really went to town. This is a trunk that's been enjoying itself. That's pretty much it, I think. Got the tree in there pretty good. I said I don't know about doing the figure with the pour paint, but we can at least get that tree done. Now for the foliage, just hold this. Yeah, I just sort of went through methodically and bought whatever I, felt I had needed and didn't have. I tried to get. Let's see if we can just add some of this as foliage in here. I'll probably need to put some of this darker color down again. Then I've got a lot of pretty paint. Maybe we'll see if we can do something else with that. Do some rocks or something. I'll get some of this darker purple. It's sort of a, like I said, a nice variation on a tree swipe. I think I'm going to pour some of this on here as foliage because it's going to take forever to just dot it in there. So let's get some of it in there and then we'll swish this around. That'll be a little faster and easier, I think. So I want to make sure I've got plenty of foliage. I don't want this to look particularly like a bare tree, like a winter tree. I want some foliage in there. And we can just add some. It's interesting, some of it, if it comes out in a thin line, it looks like just a new little branch, which is kind of nice as well. Really get in there with some of this. Make sure we've got foliage. I'll see when I get in between, I'll have a look. I look to see if they'd updated me. Sometimes they update me and say, oh, it's going to be however long. Now, I think set that down right. I think I might want to add a little bit more of a branch over here. Does that look a little barren? So we can add that and then put the branch down into it. That's another way of doing it. Okay, I might do that. I might get that rock out to. So what I want to do is now just sort of mess with this to where it doesn't look like drops so much as abstract foliage-y sort of shapes. So we'll just sort of mess with that for a bit. It's still really icky weather, but compared to what some people are going through, hard to complain. They said it should be almost an unseasonably warm winter going forward. Which at least if the power goes out, it won't be so dang cold. Boy, it was cold, Dan. Wow, that was a cold night. My neighbor, it didn't even occur to me. My neighbor went to a hotel for the night. She goes, well, what did you do? And I said, well, you know, a couple blankets and a comforter. It didn't even occur to me, like, oh, you know, maybe I shouldn't be in this cold. At least it was somewhat warmer. The day or two before it went out, the temperature was down to 15. That would have been a rough one. And you know, the trouble with even with the thought of a hotel or something is I got those cats. Now, I could take them over to my son's, but then, you know, you're loading up litter boxes and they get scared. And but they weren't taking it that well because it was cold. I got a lot of complaints. Tolstoy kept sitting in front of the fire. He's such a character. He's used to having, I have a heating pad that you can keep really low, and I turn it on for him in the evening so he can sit on it for a few minutes, and he's, you know, accustomed to it. So he's really letting me know he was not getting the sort of service he was used to. Oh yeah, you know, it's such a shame though. If they just fixed it when they fixed everybody else's, I wouldn't have lost any food. You know, I mean, I lost most of the food in one of the freezers, all the ice cream, and I had just bought 3 new half-gallons of different flavors that I'd gotten, I think, a scoop out of each one, and a bunch of other stuff, anything meat-related in the one freezer. One of the freezers holds the temperature better than the other, especially because the one that holds it better is also out in the garage, so which is a colder environment, albeit not by much with the heat off. But the inside fridge, we threw away anything meat related and all the ice cream and stuff like that, which was also unfortunate because the trash people are taking the week off. So, you know, normally we have plenty of room in our trash can when you don't have to fill it up with sacks and sacks of frozen food. I kept thinking, you know, if they just fixed it, they fixed everyone else's after 12 hours. If they just fixed ours then, I wouldn't have lost nearly so much stuff, maybe even none at all. It's so heartbreaking. And not because it had to be, they just were negligent. They just plain didn't want to mess with it and fix everything that was reported as wrong. Yes, yeah, so we ended up going, I think, 36 hours without power. It came back on, it went out at 6 a.m. one day and went back on 6 p.m. the following day. And that was just a little long for the freezer. And then I forgot, too, to get more, some stuff I shouldn't realize wasn't going to last. And we did do an emergency store run, but you know, people were walking through the hall, shuffling along, coughing with no masks, and it was just too terrifying, so we just grabbed what we could and wandered out. Especially Steve's doing his citizenship in about a week, so the last thing he needs is to catch COVID right now. Not that you ever need to do, not that any time would be a good time, but it'd be a particularly bad time. He's afraid if the Republicans get back in that they'll do something where citizens don't get their benefits and he'll lose his Social Security and stuff. So he thought he'd better go ahead and get go ahead and try to get his citizenship and make sure he keeps his benefits. It's not exactly it, but you know, it's not terribly not it either. What do we do here time-wise? Oh man, 35 minutes. Woo, go us. I might put a little bit more of that foliage in there. Yeah, we did have the propane heater, so we got more propane for that, and So we could always huddle around that. It's an indoor propane heater. It's designed for indoor use. It's one of the many things we got for shows. If we thought about using it for the house, we might have got a higher capacity one, but we got one based on, you know, our tent size and that. It supposedly will heat like a 200 square foot room, but, you know, it was still so much better than not having anything, so not to complain. Yeah, especially because hotels, and well, not only hotels are, of course, a COVID nightmare, but very expensive. She said she spent $260 for the one night. But you know, if you're going somewhere fun to have a good time, sure. But just to sort of stay out of the cold, that's a lot of money to drop. But she's got 2 dogs, so she had to find a place that would take them. So I guess, you know, she didn't. And then she had work, so she didn't want to stay, you know, like someplace more fun, like a vacation spot. But yeah, for $260, I'd rather wrap up in a blanket. Although, boy, I got tired of being cold. All right, that's a little more filled in. Good. Now, should we try and put the figure in? I'm tempted to. This spot here looks almost like a little figure sitting there, doesn't it? I don't see why we couldn't. We can put one in there. We can always paint over it if we don't like it. So kind of try and build up here. It's not bad. I think I'd like to get something a little more detail oriented. Move myself here a bit. She's a little smaller than the original figure, but that's fine. That is almost by design. I would say it's totally by design. That's not bad at all. Sometimes I surprise myself, and not in a bad way. Okay. Get some darker hair here. Some long hair on her. I think I'd like to do. I did, yeah, I did do that. Even when and the other thing we did was we'd come out and scrape the ice off paths and stuff, and that would get me quite warmed up. But yeah, not that it's anything I would ever want to go through again. That was not my cup of tea. And the worst part was that the day before it went out, there had been a lot of sun. It was real cheerful and stuff. But when it went out, it was this god-awful horror movie level white mist, white icy mist. And that's why it wouldn't warm up, which is what we were all waiting for, was for the warm weather to come. And it wouldn't come because, you know, it was this horror movie white mist. So that was all over everything. And it's so depressing, you know, because you're over there, it's cold and dark all day, you know. So not the best time I've ever spent. I've got to say it. Not my most favoritist experience here. I'm trying to figure out what I want her to be doing. Like just be sitting, like sitting in meditation, or what we want her to be doing. She looks pretty good though. So we'd have like a shoulder here. And what does that mean to us really? Originally I have her in just sort of a zazen sort of position, which would be fine as well. Ah, sorry, my nose started itching. Nose itched at the worst possible time. Add something to that. Not sure I'm enhancing this in the slightest bit. I got a little far off with that one. But then we discovered that the ants, you know, my ant problem, that doesn't go away. They were coming out of the outlet that was next to the sink. So we took off the outlet cover today, had a little rummage around. What we found is that they hadn't like closed it up. They kind of square in the tile and put the outlet in, but there's gaps all around it. So I put some electrical tape over the gaps. I hope that works. And just see, we just kind of see what happened. But not sure what went on there. Just gonna make her a little bit smaller. I have to put some white down. Oh, I did have some white over there. A little bit away from me size-wise, so I wanted to bring it forward and bring it back. I should have put a little, try like a little bump or something that maybe would look like her hand sitting in her lap, maybe. Yes, but that, because that used to be an outer wall, we think that's where the little devils are getting in from. So like I said, I closed it up with painter's tape, that blue painter's tape. I put that over the gaps. Don't know if that'll do anything at all, but that's what I did. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. When we opened it up, though, I didn't see any ants. It's not like a whole bunch of them, you know, came running out of there. So that was good. That was something to feel good about. There we go. That's actually a pretty passable figure sitting there, isn't it? They're much smaller than the original, but not bad. Let's see what you guys are seeing here. Maybe pull in a little bit on that, huh? I'm glad I made that the one darker than what it was. I was just thinking this, there's a piece right here. Let's see if I can just lean in here. It's a trunk that didn't quite do what it was supposed to do. There we go. Well, I'm glad we attempted that. I'm very shy about doing those figures in the pour paint, but that actually came out pretty well. Is there anything else we want to add while we're here? Since I have this out, we can put some different sort of leaves in there. Just doing leftover Chinese food that we got to go, I guess last night. Boy, time just seems so different. Time really is not flowing the same way for me. What I'm kind of doing is looking for anything that looks sort of chunky and then adding some little details. Yeah, and that was nice about the faceplate too, because then, you know, when we put the faceplate back over, you can't see the painter's tape at all. It's behind the faceplate. So it looks perfectly normal when you look at it, but we'll see what that does. It's been very discouraging though. They just keep coming. You know, we don't know, Dan. We are concerned about him. I mean, he was well established, but at this point, we don't know what survived and what didn't. Because he didn't have leaves this time of year, just the you know, the sticks, the branches and stuff. I'm going to take a more careful look at him. I felt like the blueberry bushes looked pretty good. But they are supposed to be able to survive, you know, the winter and that. And it was a bigger, he is a larger plant. He wasn't real small. I don't think the fuchsia did, though. I don't think the fuchsia made it. It looks pretty black. Poor thing. I rescued it and pulled it back from the brink of death only to have this happen. And it's not like, even if I realized it, I couldn't get out here. I couldn't walk out here, which is hence what the microspikes are going to do for me. At least I'll be able to walk to my studio and back in the future. I'm wondering if this area is a little bit barren of stuff, not that interesting, but you know, might as well leave it, I think, for now. Actually, I would like to see if we can't make this move a little bit rounder. Roundness got away from me a bit. It's a little better. Again, not that we can't straighten it out after, but if I can do it before, I may as well. Let's see if I can get that around looking too. That looks pretty good. Sorry, nose itches. Yeah, that's really what we're going to do, is just wait until spring and see what's still alive. There's no other way to tell, really. All right, I'm going to move this off because that actually looks pretty good, pretty snazzy. Let's see if I can get it over here. Okay, we got it on the thing all right. Okay, now what I'd like to do, but I'd have to take off my gloves, is see if that Amazon delivery's here. Gosh, you got so, I do not want to waste all this paint. We've got some really pretty colors going there. I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of this pair of gloves altogether. Oh, thank you, Dan. Yeah, it's not bad. The color's got a little bit more pastel from mixing with the white, but other than that, I'm going to see if this is, actually, I can just check it on my phone. I'm see if it's worth going in there. Don't think so. Don't see a little text there.